Oh, I skipped James's topic.
I figured we would just go there
Good
next.
thing we can go back and do it. The show's not over.
No, we can't. It's too late. We're not doing James's topic anymore.
Now I feel like the claptrap.
All right, James, tell us, what topic did you bring to the table today?
Well, it was not quite a week ago, but a little bit more than that.
D23.
They announced that the new Star Wars Battlefront game will not have a single player mode.
Boo!
They're going to focus on making it an entire multiplayer experience. And so that is kind of my topic is, A, how do you guys feel about single player in Battlefront? B, is this a good or a bad thing for the game overall? And C, is this a trend that more games should or shouldn't do? As far as like games that it's like, well, Uncharted is clearly a single player, is like that's what it's selling for, but it's had a multiplayer since 2, or games like should at least Call of Duty or Battlefield games stop doing single player and just focus on making the multiplayer better? So we'll start with just, do you think that making Battlefront multiplayer only is a good or a bad thing?
So here's my thing. I don't remember Battlefront actually having a very deep story to it to begin with.
Right.
Like, was that ever a thing? Like, did
the
Battlefront
story?
have?
No. I think it was always just like, oh, all right, you're going to play from the original trilogy now. Go fight on Endor.
Yeah, it was just level to level.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand the hubbub about this because.
Okay, so the same.
And yes,
Sorry.
I did just say the hubbub about this.
Let's not talk about that anymore.
The same people that are making this are the people who were releasing all the Battlefield games, correct?
Yes,
yeah.
It's
same,
on the DICE engine. It's
okay. And they gave up doing the new Battlefield to do this. From what I was reading, what I was doing a little research, that they actually kind of gave up the
annual Battlefield game.
Yeah, well, they're still doing it, but another company is doing it. Another studio is doing it, and the studio that's been in this Battlefield mental slog, putting out 7 billion Battlefields every year, is doing something different now, and I think that it shows in what they're doing because, again, look at Battlefield. Where's the single player? Where's the storyline?
Well, no,
Battlefield
does actually have a storyline, and they're
but but what I'm saying is, if you look at the last couple, they were just talking about the fact that the next one is going to have limited story.
Yeah,
last couple story has been shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The stories aren't that good.
One was probably Bad Company 2.
Bad Company 2.
Yeah, Bad Company 2 was really good.
Yeah.
But then after that,
Yeah.
But it's not a game that I play the single player for. Like,
same thing
with
with
Battle. What I'm saying is that the mentality of that is shifting over to this.
I'm absolutely agreeing.
Okay, so you think it's a good move?
Yeah. Because, and the thing is, I love Battlefront. I very fondly remember, James, you, Kenny, and I playing Battlefront.
Battlefront 2, yeah.
On Xbox.
Yeah.
The original Xbox. When... Oh, no. That wasn't Kenny and I. It was you, me, and David.
Yes.
I was like, I didn't know Kenny then. And, I mean, it's like, we had never met. But you and I were playing so much Battlefront and Halo together.
Yeah.
And those games are just so much fun. And if them not putting in, like, a single player in it means that the multiplayer is going to be that much better, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if the resources are not going towards making a better game, and they're going towards something else, like marketing or something like that, then I might be a little frustrated. Or DLC. It's like, no. Use your time to make the game better.
I'd be okay if it was the free DLC.
Yeah.
Probably not. It's Activision.
No.
And,
so I'm in the opposing camp, I guess. I generally stay away from all the multiplayer components of these games.
Uh-huh.
Simply because there's too many games to play, so I don't spend a bunch of time playing one game. So I'll go through the single player maybe once or even twice, and then I'll move on. So, I actually did spend some time in like Uncharted 3's multiplayer, and in that case, the multiplayer didn't start good, if you guys remember.
Yeah,
Because a different
absolutely.
studio did the multiplayer than the single player, and it felt completely
Yeah.
different. You could tell.
See,
Um,
I would be a person that would never play an Uncharted multiplayer.
it's actually
No.
pretty good.
It isn't bad.
It got a lot
But, I
better
mean-
over time too. They fixed it.
So I think, like my counter example to what I just said is a game like The Last of Us
That's what I
had
was
a
gonna bring up.
fantastic story, and as soon as they announced, oh, we're gonna have multiplayer in this, I'm like, why? Why are you gonna have multiplayer in it? And then I played the multiplayer, and I'm like, oh my god, I am so glad this game had multiplayer in it.
Yep.
Because that was a completely new kind of gameplay, or not necessarily new kind of gameplay, but very different than any other multiplayer game that was out at the time. It's like it's easily in my top 5 favorite multiplayer games.
Yeah, and it was
The
like
Last of Us.
another great
Okay.
thing about The Last of Us is that the multiplayer adds to the single player, in that it fits the world that you're in.
Yeah,
You know?
it's not just like 8 different Nathan Drakes fighting a bunch of
So-
Lazareviches.
Yeah.
So, like, saying that, I don't think there's a reason why Battlefront shouldn't have a single player, but I would understand the focus being on multiplayer. So thinking that way, they should be able to have a single player that is still based in the multiplayer maps and stuff, but they could create sort of a goal system. Like, they already have hero characters, they're going to have aerial battles and stuff. Why not be Luke on Hoth and, like, go destroy the AT-AT, go protect these people in the base? Like, they could create and string together a somewhat single-player version of that game. That's
Even if it's just a
playable.
loose one. But,
Yeah.
But then
I
I
don't know if it's
it's
necessarily
the quality
effort.
of that would drop
Probably, but
if
Yeah,
it's
but like,
tacked
so-
on.
if you are, like, being honest with yourself, it's like Call of Duty has decent single-player, but its purpose is the multiplayer, and that's what they really spend their time doing. You could do the same thing with Battlefront.
Yeah, but Call
Really?
of Duty. Have you played Advanced Warfare?
No.
The storyline there, they didn't just like cobble it together. That was a huge storyline where they hired what's his name?
Kevin
House of
Spacey.
Cards. Kevin Spacey was in the entire thing. I mean, it was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
huge
yeah.
production. It
Oh, yeah,
wasn't just
I'm not
cobbled
saying that they're
together.
bad, but they are definitely a backseat to the multiplayer. Multiplayer is where they get their money, and that's where they put their production value into.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, they try and increase the production value by hiring people like Kevin Spacey and throwing them into the game. And that does
Right.
increase production value. But it doesn't necessarily make the game better.
Right. I mean, just so everyone in the stream is reminded, where our topic is: does multiplayer or single player need to be tacked into a game? And I just
Here's
like
another.
I
here's
see
another
what
example.
you're saying, Mike.
Yeah.
But again, none of the previous Battlefronts have been like that.
True, but this isn't really like a sequel. This is a reimagining of the series. It's a whole new entry. It's reinvigorating the franchise.
I also don't, but that's not what people are going to go into this
And
game for.
let me add one thing as a technical correction to what James said when he introduced the topic. The game technically can be single player. You can play with they've added bots. They confirm that, so you can play it by yourself now.
So
which
it's
is nice.
literally
That's
going to
probably how-
be no different than the previous Battlefront games.
God, I'm so lonely.
That's probably how I'm gonna end up playing it, unless I have enough people playing it that are friends. Because I don't go online and play random people typically.
Come on, Mike. I'm your friend.
So
Yeah, but
I
I'm
think
playing Battlefront for like the time. Like by the time I get Battlefront, which is probably not going to be when it launches, because I still don't have a PS4. Are you going to be playing it 6 months after it comes out?
I am absolutely certain that if I have someone to play it with, that I will continue playing Battlefront. I played the original Battlefronts for years.
Well, we definitely didn't play Destiny for that long.
don't get me started. That's because it hasn't been years yet. Here's another example to give as far as should you put in multiplayer or single player if that's not the main focus is BioShock.
Yeah.
BioShock 1. I remember it was probably about a year before it came out when they announced that it will not have multiplayer in it. And back then, like at that time, it was like 2007, I think, was very big. People were like, what? Like, why not?
Why not?
And it was just like, we feel like it would take away from us working and making a great single player, experience. And, if I think that BioShock 1 was anything less of what it is as far as the story mode goes, that, yeah, it could have sucked pretty bad. So I mean, it's like I think it's far and few between that these games have a great multiplayer and a great single player.
With the BioShock, also, you could actually say every BioShock game that has had multiplayer has sucked, and every BioShock game that did not have multiplayer was awesome.
So we're 2 for 1, or two out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
that's
they
because
didn't do
BioShock 2
multiplayer.
was made by a different company who just sucked.
Yeah.
Which is always another factor to consider too, whether one component's made by another company or the game itself.
Which is why, to me, when you look at the track record, specifically going back to the game we're talking about here, I think it's a good thing they don't have the single player because they have a proven track record of great multiplayer, and their track record on storyline is either bad jokes or like potty humor jokes, which is fine, but great for a war movie, but not for Star Wars, or a really weird, nonsensical storyline. So I'm good with them leaving it out because it's not what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like think about the last time a good Battlefield game that came out with good multiplayer and good single player was Bad Company 2. That's what started the trend that is Modern Warfare now and Battlefield now today. That's what started it.
Yeah.
Think back to GoldenEye on the N64. Like you have good memories of playing multiplayer and single player. Think about the Uncharted games, 2 and 3. You've got great single player, great multiplayer. Halo, great single player.
Exactly.
The reason that you might want to say it's good to have both is because you have these ideas, like the memories of these great games. Like, but if there's a game there that has both, but you're really going to remember the one thing, you're going to get more of that example.
Absolutely.
So. Like case in point, all of the Call of Duty games that have come out since Bad Company 2 and Battlefield games since then, like the only big notable difference has been the addition of zombie mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario Kart, like, yeah, sure, you enjoy single player to get better, but the multiplayer is really where it stands out because that's what it's tailored to be. If they added a storyline to Mario Kart, I don't think it would add a whole lot to it.
Yeah.
So I would say, for the most part, it's good to go with one or the other unless you're in that camp of, well, we're Bungie, or we're DICE, or we're Valve, whatever,
So let's end this topic with a question, okay, for everyone. Are there any games that you wish had foregone either the story or the multiplayer to focus more on the other? Like for example, for me, the more that I have played it, the more I wish that Bungie might have tried. I mean, they already did a very, very minimal work on the story, but rather than throw out this crappy story, give us a game that was like a focus on the raids and the multiplayer, and wait to put the story in. Like, I feel like that would have been a lot better for Destiny. It might not have made people happy, but I think in hindsight, people would be less upset about the current state of the story, if that makes sense.
Oh, did you see the recent stuff, right?
Oh, I have, absolutely. And I feel like the direction they're going is the direction that they should have been gone to in the first place.
But this has been their marketing plan the whole time.
No, I realize that.
So.
But so, like, are there any games that you can think of?
I really want to say yes, but I can't think of any.
Yeah,
I guess
I have one more example, actually.
One example I could use would be Counter-Strike Condition Zero. It's the same Counter-Strike except that there was a single player kind of option, and it didn't work well.
Gotcha.
You know, it's like that's a game that knew what it was. Don't try to change it up because it's not going to work. You know, so just say figure out what you want your game to be, and if you want to try to be ambitious, I don't say discourage you, but know what your game wants to be.
Yeah.
I've got one for you.
Okay.
Madden. 2015.
You wish Madden had more of a story?
No, they added a mode where you're like a general manager mode that has like a story and stuff happened, and it was horrible. They didn't need to do it. It didn't need to be done. There was no reason to put it in there, but they did it. And they released it.
Maybe they wanted to try to be like, well, we're tired of making the same game every year. Let's try something new.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that one of the last ones on the last gen cycle?
It was this one, the one on this gen. Yeah.
Oh, the current
Madden
one.
25.
Okay, well.
Yeah,
then that makes no sense because
they added like a manager mode and it had story and stuff. It wasn't like great. That was the point. It was just kind of like you didn't even play the game. You literally just were like, I need to add some money to my stadium. Let me build some seats and let me do some stuff. There was nothing.
What they tried to do was they tried to do the MLB The Show thing, which it works really well for the MLB game because it's. I don't even know how to describe it. It fit with the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, does anyone not?
Here's something that's interesting to think about is earlier we were talking about how sports games never change, and now we're shitting on one because they tried something new.
I'm fine with the sports games. Well, I was just giving an example of something that I thought they should not have done.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing to talk about.
I do think the best example though would be Mass Effect 3. You know, they added in that multiplayer element, and I mean, like I enjoyed playing it, but it's like in order to get the perfect ending, you had to play a lot of it.
Oh, it's true.
And then on top of that, it's like the perfect ending wasn't even
perfect.
You know, great.
Yeah.
Don't get us started talking about that. We'll be here all night.
Yeah.
I hate anything that requires multiplayer as part of it. Like for instance, Assassin's Creed, Brotherhood, Revelations, and then also it doesn't require to be part of the game. It requires that to get a platinum trophy. So like in those games, it was really annoying. Or like my big example is always Street Fighter. If you try, there are 4 versions of Street Fighter 4 on PS3. All of them have their own trophy sets.
There's another Mystery franchise, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
How many times can you re-release Street Fighter 4? Seriously?
Oh, they actually have announced that Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 5 won't be doing that.
You know, Street Fighter 5 looks pretty awesome.
But Street Fighter, as an example, is there's 4 versions of it, each one with its own trophy set. All the way back to the first one, the original Street Fighter 4. A lot of those trophies are multiplayer based.
I hate fighting game trophies.
Good luck trying to find people to fight and get those trophies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just lost forever. You'll never platinum that game.
Yeah. I remember when Gears of War came out, and there are certain achievements on there that was like get 500 headshots with the sniper rifle in multiplayer mode.
Jesus
it's just
Christ.
it's like play 500 matches, and like literally it's 500 games. I'm like, I remember Ben was so pissed because Ben has always loved his achievements.
I do, and
he's an achievement whore.
I am. I'm an achievement whore. I'm a trophy whore. I don't even care. I'm not even ashamed about it. My issue with
as long as you do it safely, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Use
issue,
protection.
like specifically with Gears of War, I didn't like I know I'm in minority. I hated the multiplayer in that game.
I wasn't a big fan of it because I started playing multiplayer
so much.
When I beat the game after a week. Other people have been playing multiplayer and they're godlike at multiplayer. So it's like this isn't fun. You get stomped every time, literally.
So it just wasn't my thing.
Yeah, sure.
So is that all we have to say about story in video games?
Yeah, I think we've all made our points.
Mm-hmm.
Mike thinks you should focus. Chris is more open to doing both. I think you should know what you want to do. I'm a middle ground. Ben, I have no idea what you think, but
I think they should know what they're trying to do.
So
I'm with you, James.
That's
But
good.
with exceptions like The Last of Us, it's like.
But they knew what they were doing though. They knew what they wanted to be. It was both, and they were awesome at it.
So, all right, let's move on to the final topic of the evening, and that